There's 0 in Edmonton, 0 in Woodstock, 0 in St. John. RCMP has 6 around the province. So you've got the bulk of them.
Yes.
What is your argument that this is not unusual or not exceptional?
I wouldn't make an argument that it's not unusual or abnormal. This is unusual. I've been policing here for 30 years, and not that I can say with absolute certainty, but I don't recall ever having this many people suspended at once. Hence, we're having a press conference because it is abnormal. And I really, truly believe it is not indicative of the performance of our overall force. The stars have collided on this one, and we have 5 people at the same time that have gotten into trouble off duty, and we're doing everything that we can to manage that within accordance with the law.
So do you think more officers are breaking the law or just more being caught or charged?
I wouldn't be able to speculate on that whatsoever. All I know is that we're dealing with things that come to our attention as they come to our attention. I don't know that there's any changes there.
See, if you had forced your changes through that you mentioned earlier, changes with the act that you wanted to see, how would these be dealt with differently if you've got changes you want?
I think some of those are probably questions that might better be answered by the New Brunswick Police Commission. I know that they are looking at revisions to the Police Act in concert with government and with ME chiefs. In particular around the suspension with or without pay, I think that would certainly be more palatable and acceptable to the public, to the taxpayers, to mayor and council, to our members. Just the fairness perception piece of this, Catherine. I mean, if you have an officer who's suspended, for example, for 2 years, they're home, they're getting paid, they have full benefits, and they are still considered on pensionable time. If I have a female officer or on maternity leave or a male officer on parental leave, that gets docked from their pension years. That's just not a fair process. So I think some of the fundamental changes that we're trying to make in the Police Act would just be more palatable to the officers, to taxpayers, to council, to your senior managers. It would just be a more fair process.
So when someone does get charged, so you have 5 people on, how long are they on?
Well, that all depends. Yeah, and I'm glad you've asked that, because sometimes we have officers who may initially be suspended. So something will happen that will bring them to our attention, and we weigh the risk and the balance. So we have to weigh whether or not they can come back to work on accommodated duties, and in some cases that happens. And in other cases, we weigh the risks, and they need to stay off during the duration, and that's outside of my control. So,
one final question.
Chief,
Mike?
do you plan to before?
Charles, can we just have the member of the media, and then we'll be able to address after
I'll
we
ask her
let
after.
the media go.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry. I thought it was media.
Chief, you mentioned that you were disappointed with what is taking place. What's the feeling among your membership? Are they expressing the same disappointment to you?
They are feeling the burden, Mike, of and you've heard this expression, I know, in different police agencies. We all wear the same uniform, and we all feel painted by the same paintbrush. And so it's very difficult for our members who are still on active duty to go out in the community and ensure that the public trusts them and respects them. Again, back to the workload burden, they're carrying extra workload because we still have calls for service to answer. So, I think that they're compassionate side, they feel bad for their colleagues, but it is difficult on the overall morale of the department, and it is a shared disappointment, and I think it's a shared disappointment between myself, my senior staff, our civilian staff, the police officers, and the community at large. So.
Chief, just one more question. It's all right to have a news conference. Do you plan to go in the community, like at night, to have the citizens that are concerned they can't be here to answer their question?
That's a good point, Charles, and I'll certainly take that under advisement.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. You all have copies. You will also receive an email copy, and it is also on our website. So thank you very much.
It was so exciting to be able to ask more than one question. I just want you to know.
Okay.
Or one question shared among all local reporters, which is what the experience was in my ministry. Just saying.
So this is a good thing.
And I was nice, too. That's what happened when you were in there.
Ford?
Makes me 25.
When are we going to bring in the RCMP and get rid of them?
I support them.
Why?
They're a good force. Are you on?
I am out.
Yeah. No, I support the chief, and I support our men and women that are doing a fine job. Of course, we got some problems.
I mean,
But
to label me as a pedophile, I mean...
you shouldn't have been labeled as that, and you're not that, and
But
that's...
to raid my place, and no apology from the chief. And
I can. I told you I would.
Well, not you, I mean, a news conference. And,
Yeah.
tears in her eyes, and, you know,
Yeah.
guillotine and hours to swear, and,
Well,
you know,
I hope
meet this
that-
police
I hope
force.
that gets behind you real soon.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Gee, huh?
Hey, can we gather around this way so we have these guys in the background rather than the boards, than the
What guys in the background?
We want these people. All of our camera people are back. Yeah, can we all move this aside? Actually.
Do you want to back up into
Yeah,
there?
that would be great, yeah. There's no like panic here.
Boy, this should be good.
Don't be like that. Here,
Yeah,
let's go this way.
sorry.
So we do get the wall after all.
Let me go behind
All
there.
my efforts.
All right, you're leading the charge here, or what?
I don't know, I'm standing.
Okay.
Okay, so why are you here?
Well, I'm here to support the chief and support the Fredericton Police Force. They're going through a very difficult time right now, and you know, I was very pleased with the chief's comments under this very difficult situation that we all find ourselves in.
You guys are responsible, according to the Police Act in Fredericton. I mean, I think they have a board in St. John, but the mayor and council are responsible for the police force here. Do you feel like there maybe should be a citizen team or somebody who's not associated with the city?
Well, you know, normally that you wouldn't ask that question. I mean, this is very unusual. I mean, as the chief said, in her 30 years, she does not recall having this many members off at the same time. We're all disappointed. We're all disappointed, and we want to see changes. You are absolutely right. In the city of Fredericton, the police chief answers to the mayor and council, and I can tell you that I will be asking the Minister of Justice or the Attorney General, Stephen Horseman, to have a real hard look at the Police Act. I think it's encumbering police chiefs. I think it's outdated. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the reasons that she stated. And when we have problems, we want to deal with them. Now, you know, I have a problem with people being out 2 years, getting full pay, and sitting at home and doing nothing. I mean, there's got to be a better way to deal with it. So they know that, and the chief knows that, and we'll get through this. I mean, it's as mayor, it's very disappointing because I know the kind of work that these men and women do, and they're no different than anybody else. If they're out having a drink, somebody asked the question: do they think they're above the law? Do we? Do we think we're above the law? If we don't have a uniform on, and you know, there's many media people that I've known, there's many politicians that I've known have done the same thing. No, they don't think they're above their law. They're making a stupid decision when they get behind the wheel of a vehicle and drive. And a lot of people have done that before and haven't got caught. But you take that risk. It's a bad decision, bad judgment. And when you're wearing a uniform, it's even worse because they are held to a higher standard.
The change to the Police Act, that would mean that she could get rid of the police officers who are...
I don't think necessarily. The thing that bothers me more than anything, that the citizens that I've talked to, is why anybody for 2 years could be out getting full pay and full benefits, even pensionable benefits. You got a problem with somebody who is caught drinking or driving or whatever it happens to be, suspend them without pay. That makes more sense to me. And then deal with the issue. And it could be sorry?
Does that not presume guilty if you suspend them?
Anybody else in the municipality that has a problem that we deal with, that I deal with, it doesn't take any more than 24 hours. You know, they will go to court, they will be charged, they will be heard, and if they are found innocent of those charges, then you bring them back. I wouldn't even mind retroing the pay back to the period. But when people are found guilty after a 2-year process, that's too much, and then the taxpayers don't agree with it, nor do I, and the police commission should make the change.
These are the people that got caught. Do you think it's time to ask the Minister of Justice and Minister of Public Safety for a public inquiry on the Fredericton Police Force?
No. No, not really.
No?
I mean, this is a tough one, Charles. There's 5 people out, and it's very disappointing. To me, it's very disappointing to council, and it's very disappointing to the members of the Fredericton Police Force that continue to work every day and every night. It's an unusual circumstance. I mean, next week if we have 5, and the next week after that 5, then something's going to have to happen. I think this is just an anomaly. It's not what we're used to. And the numbers are high, and the chief is going to address it, and we're going to make sure that people get help that are working for us. And we do that in all of our organizations. And police aren't the only ones that step out of line. I mean, politicians have. I've stepped out of line before. You know, nobody's perfect. Unfortunately, when you wear the uniform, you're expected a higher standard, and they know that. And that's what makes this even more troublesome.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you and I are going to have to take this outside, buddy. I mean, I never sat beside somebody so much.